I broke my wrist and need help getting to work, but my husband refuses to assist in any way and told me to just Uber. I'm the main breadwinner, we need the money, and I need advice. Posted by you/thrower broken driver. A couple of days ago, I, 26F, was doing yard work, and I tripped and fell, breaking my wrist. It's in a cast and will be for at least 4 weeks. I work full-time in person about 30 minutes away from home. I took the last 2 days off from work, but I need to go back on Monday. I can't drive my car because it has a stick shift, and the wrist I broke is on the arm I use to shift. I can't grab the shifter to change gears, so I can't drive it. My husband, 28M, drives an automatic, and while it wouldn't be ideal, I could drive it. I asked him if he would mind switching cars with me until I'm able to shift gears again. He said no because he doesn't like driving my car. I taught him how and he's used it before, he just doesn't like it. So I asked if he would drive me to and from work, at least a few times per week. He also said no because he doesn't want to wake up early. He works 3 shifts per week in the evenings. I would be home with his car before he had to leave for work. He would also have time to drive me home from work without being late. I am also the breadwinner, and we need the money I make from working. He told me I should just Uber, but it would be at least $60 per day, and I can't afford that. I feel unsupported. I get that the situation sucks, but a couple of years ago, when his car wasn't working, I let him use my car. He worked more back then, 5 days per week, so I let him use it to go to work and also to go out with friends and stuff. So I feel I am not being reciprocated. He doesn't owe me for that, but also, he isn't willing to help me out with this, and the inconvenience of letting me use his car is much less for him because he'd be sleeping when I was using it. Where do I go from here? Am I asking or expecting too much? Top/relevant comments. Commenter. He needs to step up or GTFO. Tell him he's being immature and lame, and if he doesn't let you use his car, you'll just take time off from work and he can pay all the bills. Considering you do all the yard work, it shouldn't be a big ask. Ops response. We can't make it on just his income alone. And I won't be able to pay my part in full if I have to spend $60 per day for Uber. I don't know what he expects to happen. I also don't do all the yard work, I was just doing some and fell. I was picking up sticks and leaves from the winter so he could mow the lawn. Commenter 2. He kind of does owe you, though, because a marriage is a partnership. He does need to step up here. Ops downvoted response. I agree he needs to step up. But by he doesn't owe me, I mean I didn't let him use my car so one day I could throw it in his face like, well, I let you use my car. But also, I did. And the inconvenience was greater for me than it would be for him. Commenter 3. I would be home with his car before he had to leave for work. Why can't you both just drive his car then? You don't even have to switch cars. You take the car in the morning and then get home before he has to leave. Like, what could possibly be the issue here if that's your schedule? So you have to fill it up with gas a little more often for these few weeks. Okay, is he going places during the day before he goes to work and that's why he wants his car? Do you know everywhere he goes during the day? I would be concerned about this. Ops response. That's what I don't get. He is definitely sleeping the whole time, I do know that. If not, I don't know when he would be sleeping. He goes to sleep right around the same time I go to work and wakes up around when I get back. I don't know why he won't let me take it while he sleeps. He says it's in case I have to work late and he can't get to work. But if that happened, he would have my car. And also, I rarely work late, and when I do, it's because I decide to stay to finish something I started. But it can always be continued the next day. Sometimes I decide to stay, sometimes I don't. But at this time, I'd never stay to finish. Commenter 4. No, you don't have to think of that or look into it. The car is there for you to use. Just take his effing car. If you're going to leave when he's asleep and be back before he wakes up, just take the effing car. Ops response. The car is not in my name, though, I can't just take it. I know he wouldn't report it as stolen, but still. I don't have a legal right to it. Update 4 days later. I got a lot of advice on my last post, some helpful, some not. A lot of people slammed him for not working more. I want to clear that up. He was working the same number of hours as I was, sometimes more, but his hours got cut at work. He's been looking for a new job or a second one but hasn't had much luck. I know he has been looking and putting in effort. That's not an issue. But I sat down with him and said that we really need to talk about this because I had to go to work today, Monday. I told him I understand he is having a hard time with his hours being cut and trying to navigate the job market. But I have a good job and I need to get there, and I can't afford to Uber while I heal. We need to find a solution. He kept talking in circles with the same reasons I mentioned in the last post. I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was something along the lines of, "That is not good enough for me. I don't accept those reasons and I don't think they're true." What is the actual reason? We are married and partners, why am I left hanging like this? He finally told me the truth. Since his hours got cut, he hasn't been maintaining his car. He had savings and maintained his car when he worked more, but when his hours were cut, he started using his savings to pay his part of the bills. And when it ran low, he finally let me readjust our spending. I had been pushing for it from the start, but he refused. When his savings ran low, his car started having problems and he couldn't afford to fix it. He needs new tires. He needs new brakes. The AC stopped working. And he is also well overdue for an oil change. He used to keep up with this stuff but hasn't because he is low on money. He was ashamed and didn't want me to use his car or ride in it because he didn't want me to know how bad it was. He was embarrassed, so he never brought it up. So he has been driving an unsafe car and didn't want me to drive it. After a very long talk, we came to a solution. I will buy him used tires. They need to be done but can wait a week as we look and get this set up. Yesterday, we replaced the brake pads and did an oil change. I couldn't physically help, but I read him steps and looked at things when he wasn't sure. His dad also helped over FaceTime. Between our brains, we figured it out. We decided not to mess with the AC because that's a comfort thing and not necessary, especially during this time of year. So in all, he was having a private struggle I wasn't aware of. I usually don't go in his car, so I never noticed. And this morning, he drove me to and from work. Either he will drive me or I will drive myself, with his permission. It depends on the day. I knew he was struggling with the lack of income, and I have been pushing and pushing for him to let me do more. But he held out due to pride, and his car suffered. And honestly, I think I might do the same thing. I still feel a bit betrayed, and the trust has eroded a bit. But at the same time, I also feel like I got closer to him. It's a weird feeling I can't fully explain. But in the end, I can get to work with his help. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Make sure to give yourselves points for talking this out. Whenever someone asks what's the most important thing in a relationship, communication is always the winner, because without it, you can't do anything else. And your ability to have awkward and difficult conversations that stay respectful and clear is going to go a long way toward the success of your relationship. Ops response. Communication is key. We have always been great communicators when it comes to the hard stuff. I guess this time, his shame didn't let him let me in. But he eventually did, and we worked it out, and I think that made us stronger. I'm still hurt because he didn't let me in earlier, but I also understand why he didn't. Commenter 2. I'm always glad when we get updates on posts. This is somehow even more depressing. Marriage is supposed to be a team working for the common good of the family, communal funds, communal problems, communal repairs. I broke my wrist, my husband won't give me his car to get to work, he doesn't work much because his hours were cut, his car is in disrepair but he was ashamed to tell me and that's why he didn't want me to drive it, so I gave my husband the money to get tires. This makes my brain hurt, and that's coming from someone who is married. We also have separate accounts but access to each other's. What's his is mine, and mine is his. Sure, we give each other a heads up on big purchases, but the thought of hiding major stuff from each other or looking at it like I gave him money to fix his car makes me feel sad for Op. Commenter 3. How is his car being unsafe a barrier to him driving her to work in her own car? Not wanting to get up early to support your injured wife is an appalling excuse. Putting his pride before his wife's comfort and ability to earn a living, which they both desperately need, by the way, is nothing to congratulate him on. Commenter 4. Op wanted a way to let him off the hook, not a solution with compromise. One of Op's downvoted responses. A lot of people jump to he is a jerk. He really isn't. It was so out of character, and I knew something wasn't right, but he kept deflecting and I eventually figured out why. And he isn't a jerk, just someone hurting in his current situation. I'm glad he finally let me in. It's best for both of us, and we fixed the immediate issue. Next is working on preventing this from happening in the future. Editor's note. Op deleted her account, probably because of the number of people telling her that her husband was a jerk.